The British failed at Monte Cassino, the Americans failed, the New Zealanders failed, the French failed. Then the Allies gave the mountain to an army of men who had already lost their country once and were fighting to get something back that has no name on a map. You are 24 years old and you are from Lwów, which is a city in eastern Poland that has belonged to 3 different countries in your lifetime. Currently, it belongs to none of them in any way that means anything to the people who live there. The thing you carry from that city is not a photograph and not a letter but a smell. The particular smell of the linden trees on Akademika Street in June, when they flower all at once. The whole street becomes something that has no military term for it. You have been a soldier for 47 months. You were arrested by the Soviet NKVD in February 1940 in your family home, taken to a transit camp at Tarnopol, moved to a labor camp at Vorkuta above the Arctic Circle. The temperature in winter reaches -45°C and the work is coal, and the coal does not stop needing to be moved regardless of what the temperature is doing. You were there for 19 months. In August 1941, Germany invaded the Soviet Union and Stalin needed the Poles he had imprisoned. General Anders was released from Lubyanka prison in Moscow and given permission to form an army from the Polish prisoners scattered across Soviet camps. You walked out of Vorkuta with 11 other men from your barracks and you did not look back, because looking back at a place like that is something you do only once and then you stop. You have been fighting with the Adu Corps since Persia, since Iraq, since the Western Desert, and now you are in Italy at the base of a mountain that has a monastery on top of it. 200 German paratroopers inside the monastery. A history of 4 failed Allied assaults in 5 months. General Anders told the Corps before the operation that Poland would be watching. He did not say which Poland. There are 2 now, the one the Soviets are taking from the east and the one the Germans are still holding from the west. Somewhere between them is a country that exists in the heads of 50,000 men who are about to climb a mountain in the dark. You sit outside your tent and you clean your Enfield rifle, which is a British rifle that you have been issued, because the British are supplying this army. You think about the fact that you are a Polish soldier with a British rifle about to take a German position in Italy in order to open a road to Rome. You try to find a word for what this is. You do not find one. You have a photograph in your breast pocket, not of a person, of a street. Akademicka Street in Lwów, taken in 1938. Linden trees in the background. A few people walking. Nothing remarkable about it except that it exists and the street still exists, and that is enough. The artillery begins at 2300 hours, 1,600 Allied guns opening across the entire Italian front simultaneously. The Italian night carries sound differently than the desert. The mountains hold it and return it, and the echoes arrive from directions that do not match the guns. The barrage seems to come from everywhere at once. You move out at 100 hours with the 5th Kresowa Infantry Division, climbing the slopes north of the monastery through terrain the German defenders have had 5 months to mine, wire, and register their mortars on. The slope is loose limestone and scrub and shell, craters from 4 previous assaults, each crater now a depression that collects shadow and makes the man in front of you disappear and reappear as he moves through them. You follow the man in front of you not by seeing but by the sound of his boots on the rock. The German positions open up at free MG-42 machine guns, 200 rounds per minute, and the distinctive sound of the Granatwerfer 36 mortar coming out of the tube. You have been in enough of this to be an experienced soldier. You are face down in a shell crater before you have made a conscious decision to be there. The man who was in front of you is not moving. You stay in the crater for 11 minutes. You count them. Counting is something the body can do in the dark with nothing but its own heartbeat for reference. 11 minutes is how long it takes for the MG-42 to shift its arc to a different part of the slope. Then you move. You move upward because the orders are upward and because there is a man somewhere ahead of you who is also moving upward, and the sound of his boots on the limestone is the only navigation you have. By 300 hours, the 2 Corps has taken 3 of the 6 German strongpoints on the northern slope and lost contact with 2 of the battalions on the southern approach. You do not know this. You know the ruins of the farm buildings on the mid-slope, which the previous assaults have reduced to chest-high walls of stone that provide cover if you reach them and killing ground if you do not. The distance between your current position and those walls is 80 meters of open slope that the German defenders can see from 3 directions. You cross it in 4 rushes of 20 meters each. Sprint and drop, sprint and drop. The body doing the counting while the mind goes somewhere else entirely. The somewhere else your mind goes is Akademicka Street in June, the linden smell, the specific quality of that particular afternoon light through the leaves. A thing so far from this slope that the distance between them is not measurable in any unit you know. You reach the wall. There are 7 other men from your section already behind it. One of them is a man from Krakow named Wojciech, who you have known since the training camp in Persia. He has a habit of eating his ration biscuits in very small bites, making each one last longer than it should. A habit he says he learned in the Soviet camp and has not been able to stop since. He is eating a biscuit when you arrive. You sit with your back against the wall and you breathe, and you count the men and there are 7 and then 8 with you and the section had 12 when you started. You do not do anything with this number, you just hold it. The monastery is 400 meters above you. In the dark, it is a mass of ruined stone against the sky, the Allied bombing of February having destroyed the building without dislodging the defenders who were using the ruins as a fortress. You can see the muzzle flashes from the German positions inside it. You think about the fact that you are looking up at a destroyed monastery from behind a destroyed farmhouse wall in a country that is not yours, fighting for an army that is not yours, in order to get back to a city that may not be yours anymore when this is over. You do not think about this for long because there is no useful direction for it to go. Wojciech offers you a piece of biscuit. You take it. The battle lasts 7 days. The AB Corps loses 923 men killed and 931 wounded in those 7 days. 1072 graves in rows that follow the contour of the mountain, each one facing the building they died trying to reach. On the morning of May 18th, the German paratroopers withdraw from the monastery, and a Polish patrol reaches the ruins at 0920 hours. You are not in the patrol. You are on the mid-slope with the remnants of your section, which is now 4 men including Wojciech, holding a position against a counterattack that does not come, because there are no Germans left to launch it. At 0930 you hear a sound from above, that is not artillery and not small arms, and not the sound of the mountain doing what the mountain does. It is a bugle. The hejnal, the Polish bugle call from Krakow, the one that breaks off in the middle of its melody because in 1241, a bugler playing it from the tower of St. Mary's Basilica was shot through the throat by a Tatar arrow before he could finish. The tradition since then has been to stop at the same place every time, to hold the interruption, to not resolve the note. It comes down the slope from the monastery in the May morning air, and you hear it and you know what it means. You do not stand up because there are still positions to hold, and standing up on this slope has a cost you have been paying for 7 days. You sit with your back against the limestone wall and you listen to it finish where it always finishes, at the place where it does not finish. You have been away from Poland for 47 months. You do not know if Akademicka Street still has linden trees on it. You do not know who the street belongs to now. The bugle stops. The morning is quiet. You take out the photograph. The linden trees are there, midsummer, the way they looked in 1938. And the people walking underneath them do not know that 6 years later a soldier from their city will be sitting on a slope in Italy looking at them. The photograph is still there. The street is still there in it. Whether the street is still there is a question the photograph cannot answer.